Now we're live, and I changed the name and everything. Call me Maury, because I'm the alpha male now.
Let's see here.
Ultimate alpha, ain't that right, Maury? He's searching for danger. He's looking for a fight. He's looking for anything. PugCast, episode 9. No, go back. PugCast, episode 9 is now live.
Yeah, I clicked on the link in YouTube, so we should be fine, I guess.
PugCast, episode 9. I'm going to pull that up on my phone. I'm going to text it to David because he wanted to see it.
All right, go ahead.
I just love how the thumbnail is me rubbing my itchy eyes. That's perfect. Even though I take up 1/3 of the screen.
Did you take any allergy medication?
No, I didn't.
Well, might have helped.
I'm fine. No, I'm not fine. But oh my gosh, HP support assistant, go kill yourself. Seriously. No, I didn't. It's the only thing I feel strong enough about to make that kind of a statement. End task. Thank you. I'm gonna post the link on my friend's Snapchat. We should be good. Man. Do you think people with really bad grass allergies in the Bible days were just screwed from birth? What about people with poor eyesight?
Well, it was just too bad. You got poor eyesight.
It's man, wow, that's something interesting to think about. Michael, this is going on your personal Facebook page, I think.
On mine, yeah.
I love how I search for Michael Heiser.
Lunchtime viewing here in Australia.
Can I just find the Michael Heiser page that belongs to my dad?
Yeah.
That would be great.
Mom says take Zyrtec D.
Zyrtec D, yeah. Okay,
well,
I'll do that.
I told him to do that earlier, but...
No, he didn't.
This morning
if
at
by earlier
breakfast
you mean
I did.
20 seconds ago.
No,
yes.
no, hours and hours ago.
Where are my friends? I want to find... Michael Heiser. I got to scroll all the way down here. It's irritating. It's not it's irritating. It actually is irritating. Mike Heiser. There we go.
Mom says
Searching Michael. That was a problem.
Somebody's asking here about the Discord chats, and I'm typing a response. Discord chats were an experiment.
We're probably going to continue doing it because I think it's fun.
If we do them again, it'll be the last 15 minutes.
You know what? Do you want to do the last 15 again this time?
The last 10 or 15, because that they tend to get monopolized, or at least that's the basis of one time doing it.
Yeah, like I said, we're going to try Discord calls today. We're going to get a couple of people in, and then the whole stream was just the Discord call. Kind of like how the whole stream was me itching my eye.
Do you need to... I don't know if it'll do any good if you take something now, but...
Probably not.
Yeah.
Why are my lips so blue? It's upsetting.
Why do you have so much problem with the lighting here?
Why do my lips look blue? That's what I'm wondering. I look like a alien creature.
Armin's not even in here. I locked his little door, so...
I hate allergies.
Okay, yeah, Calvin has bad allergies tonight.
I was even having them upstairs. I was playing Fortnite perfectly fine. I come down, and then my eyes just commit suicide.
Well, that's what happens to me sometimes when I go up to sleep.
Yeah, but you have glasses, Dad. You have glasses.
No, I get all congested.
You have a partial shield. It's like a riot shield for your face.
Yeah, well, I get super congested, so I know what the issue is here. How many people do we have in? Because I want to actually talk about something tonight. Is there a way to get a count here?
Yeah, there is. Let me check. Currently, we have 46 live viewers. Let me just mute that.
Yeah, Chaos Tamer. I don't think there is a connection with the Apkalu thing on Shape of Water.
Let me eat this burrito.
I'm willing to take...
what about the Shape of Water?
Whether that's connected to something I write about, and I don't think so. I think I'm gonna take him at his word that he just wanted to sort of play with the Creature of the Black Lagoon romance thing, because there's no dialogue that really checks into that. So, let's see. Okay, now we're getting
Han Solo's
numbers.
in here, Dad.
45,
Let's say hi to Han
46.
Solo. Dad.
Hello, Captain Solo.
Yeah, he's here.
Well, that's good. If you can make a good case for it, go ahead. I'd need some dialogue there, some at least plot line.
Well, he says he can prove it, so let's give him that opportunity.
Okay, I don't know what flat water means, but all right,
Earth.
How many do we have? Yeah, flat Earth. So we have about 50 now, because I want to throw something out here to actually talk about.
Yeah, we're 50. Go for it.
Maury's like passed out now. Can you cover him a little bit better?
Yeah, I will. Anyway.
Let's see here. All right. Here's what I want to throw out. I've been really thinking about. Should I say what I've been thinking about, or just throw it out?
Go for it.
Let's see here. All right. I'm gonna ask it this way. He's obsessed with Lovecraft. Well, yeah. Well, the Ancient Aliens thing, that's Lovecraftian stuff right away.
No,
so
the reason
I don't know
that
that's Apkallu, but
the reason that was said was a callback to a different someone, because someone said it was inspired by H.P. Lovecraft instead of that, which I can buy, because H.P. Lovecraft is a much more trendy thing to take inspiration from for fiction.
Yeah, I know about Oanes. I just need this is the Chaos Tamer now. I just need some specific dialogue from the movie, or I need a specific point, not just sort of a somewhat related thing. Okay, here's what I want to interject here. If I asked all of you, who would you think of in Christian Middle Earth in terms of like people who do research? If I said, give me the name of a Christian Middle Earth research person who A, has not jumped the shark. In other words, a serious-minded person who is in it, and here's the key thought, who is in this material not to sensationalize it, but to actually do things like evangelism or apologetics. Who comes to mind? Give me names. Is there anybody out there like that? And Christian Middle Earth, again, the wacky world of internet theology and paleobabble and all this stuff, it's a pretty wide net. So who's into the esoteric, occult, fringe archaeology? I mean, you name it, the paleobabble stuff. Who's in that is intentionally trying to not sensationalize it, but to actually do ministry in there? So, okay, Gilbert's is a suggestion. Gons, I see coming up here. Derek, you realize, and you realize with Derek's, okay, I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate, but only not because I disagree, because I think somebody like Derek is trying to be real serious minded. But just to use him as an example, he works for Skywatch TV, and Skywatch TV sensationalizes all this stuff. But I think they're still they're still the good guys, and people do get ministered to. But who is just not trying to sensationalize stuff? So Derek, I think, is kind of like this middle of the road figure in my mind, because on the one hand, I think he tries to do serious things, but on the other hand, he works at Skywatch, so there's this tension there. Missler was doing Bible code stuff. Okay, that is sensationalizing it, but again, he's another of the same kind of person. Again, one of the good guys trying to do some good stuff, some serious stuff. But on the other hand, it's like we're off in la la land with Bible codes. I want somebody who's not trying to sensationalize this stuff. And I'm not saying it's an easy question, but I'm using those two examples just to give you an idea of how I'm asking that you think about it. Gons, again, they're into everything on Canary Cry, but I think it's fair to say, I think they've said this on the air, and certainly behind the scenes, that they're making an effort to not just jump the shark. Okay, so I think we're in sort of we're on the page with Derek and Gons, but there's still this sensationalist element that kind of accrues to them for different reasons. Does anybody else come to mind? You know, Han Solo comes to mind.
I agree. You know who I
Okay,
think comes to mind?
that's fair. Right, that's fair.
Maury comes to mind.
Yeah, Maury comes to mind.
Look at that face.
Maury
Look
has
at
the
him.
utmost. He's the utmost seriousness.
Look at how serious he looks. Maury looks
Okay,
serious.
I'm not going to go with Timothy Alberino because again, I think his work is sensationalizing the giant stuff. Marzulli definitely is sensationalizing things. Again, this is not an easy question, so this is why I'm throwing it out, because I'm assuming you all have more exposure to people than I do. Ken Johnson, I don't really know who that is. So can somebody give me a URL, a website or something like that? I don't know who Steve Bankars is as well. Yeah.
Hey, Dad.
Michael Lake I've met once, but I don't know enough about to know whether that's a good example. Chris White, okay, that probably feels the safest, in scare quotes here. Again, what I mean by that is the person who's least sensational so far. Chris really hasn't done anything for quite a while online. I mean, I've had correspondence with him by email. I mean, he's doing fine so far as my email, correspondence with him tells me. But you use Chris White in your head again to process the question. Again, he's the least sensational of the names so far. So now we're trending in the right direction. Paul Washer, I've never heard him associated with any of the weird topics in Christian Middle Earth. Am I wrong there? I just have always heard him in association with preaching or evangelism, but does he get into the Middle Earth stuff? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking. Chris White, another one. Let's see here. What are you doing with your phone? Charles Lawson. Okay, that's another person I don't know. I should be writing these down, the people that I don't know. Let me just get a notepad up here. If any of you have websites specifically, or how about let's add specific reasons why you're putting them on here. Again, Paul Washer, I just don't associate him with Middle Earth stuff at all. But if you have a good example, let me know. Nehemiah Gordon, I've never heard of him, so let me write him down. I'm going to tell you why I'm asking here in a moment, but I want to get some names. Mark Flynn. Mark Flynn's actually Carl Teichribb, definitely. He's actually on my own list, answering my own question that I have on my laptop. Mark Flynn. He's probably between Chris White and some of the other ones, at least in my head. But Mark is worth writing down. I don't know. Maybe iffy. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure about that one. Let's see here. Yeah, James White joking. Thank you for that joke. Yeah.
There's a news story out that involves a pug.
Well, what is that?
It's the guy in Scotland who is. Did I talk about this?
Is this the pug that couldn't run video?
No,
okay.
It's nothing like that. It's this. Did I tell you about it's like this Scottish court case, right? Where this guy could be facing prison time because he made a joke
with the dog with the Nazi salute.
Which involved teaching his pug to do the Nazi salute. Maury would never do that.
Oh, let's see. I gotta catch up on the name. Daryl Bach does not do any of the weirdness stuff. Charles Lawson, I wrote down. I don't know who that is. Nehemiah Gordon, don't know who that is, but I'll look him up. Oh, there's another name, Stephen Bankars. Okay. And we've already made mention of Carl. Again, Carl's definitely on my list here. Yeah, I wish someone would hold my head up while I sleep. Maury likes his head held up.
Maury's ideal bed is just a pillow with a small pedestal in front of it.
NehemiahsWall.com.
Maury's got a snout so good we can frame it. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I say really dumb things. Like, I feel like I say "you feel me" and "dude" a lot because I used to say them ironically, and they just became part of my speech pattern.
Can anybody see you on camera, Calvin? Because you're
the camera's
standing
pointed
up.
at the pug.
Right, okay.
He's not appearing on the feed with his new.
Are your allergies any better? Brian Godawa.
Brian, I love that guy. I met him. He's great. He's one of my favorites.
That's an interesting one to include here.
How is Brian, by the way?
He's doing well. We're going to see him in Israel.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Have fun in Israel. How long are you guys gonna? Every time I'm on camera, something new happens.
Okay.
Now I'm hiccuping.
Donita says Nehemiah doesn't do weird stuff. Okay. Let's see.
How long are you gonna be in Israel, though?
Emily Dixon. Okay. Let's add her to this list here. I've not heard of her. This is good. This is going to give me some homework. Yeah, Ravi Zacharias does not do Middle Earth stuff. Calvin, are you allergic to THICC?
Thick?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yes, I'm very allergic to thick. I was playing Fortnite earlier, and I got the new Easter skin. Man, too thick for me.
Okay, I'll pretend.
Too thick.
No, I won't need to pretend I don't know what that is because I don't.
Thick. Okay. There's different levels of it, right? No, wait, Dad, there's different levels, right?
Okay.
There's THICK, that's thick. Then you replace the K with the C, and that's thick, right? But then you can go even further, which I would not recommend for a beginner, but you can go even further. Capitalize it, add more C's, get even more and more thick.
But what's the point of it? What's the point of it?
Being thick is the ideal. Maury is like the ultimate thick being. He's got all these wrinkles.
This is like
dense.
another word for cool or something? Or?
Yeah, thick means cool, Dad. Dad, you're really thick.
I have no idea.
Super thick. Hashtag MSH thick. There we go.
Let's see here. Now, somebody brought up Patrick Wood's podcast. Okay, Patrick Wood I've listened to his podcast maybe half a dozen times. Seems to have really good information. I would not view him as, again, a sensationalizer or jump the shark kind of guy. If you agree, please, chime in here. Godawa, let's see. Okay, Jen has she has from Truth Exchange, but I don't see what preceded that. Jen, Dr. Peter Jones. Yeah, I know Peter. Peter would be an interesting guy to include here. I have not seen Peter for years. I used to see him every year at the academic conferences, but I guess he hasn't been there for the last few years. But that's an interesting choice. Let's see. Yeah, Adam, I follow you, but I'm not doing any sermons or lectures on marriage. Everybody does that. But I follow the logic anyway. Let's see here. Somebody has here Rankin, Rankin. Is that a name or is that another code word like thick that I don't know what that is?
I think everyone should know what thick is.
No, yeah.
Thick should be my new running gag. No more flat Earth. Thick Earth all the way. Thick Earth.
Okay, Ashby wants to know why. Well, okay. I would just like to. I have about half a dozen people on my own list for this, and they're not names that you would know necessarily from Middle Earth, but they're serious people who have either, I would say, a lot of academic knowledge about the kind of stuff that goes on in the fringe community, again, Christian Middle Earth community, or they have a lot of life experience in occult contexts, fringe contexts, and they have come out of that, and again are serious about ministry to people in those contexts. And so I would like to collect a list of, I'd like to get into double digits here, of people that are just exactly what I described. They're either well informed about, fringe, alternative history, occult, esoteric stuff, paranormal stuff, paleobabble, UFO religions, all the weirdness. They have a good domain knowledge, we'll call it, maybe either one particular subject or pretty broad. So they have good domain knowledge, and they are also committed to not sensationalizing it. And let me elaborate on that a little bit more. I made the comment about a month ago, I guess it's been now, at the Spokane conference. I can't remember if it was a Q&A or some session, but I more or less went on a little mini rant about this. And I asked this question. What would happen? What do we think, would happen if we put as much time, as much energy, as much interest, as much thought, and frankly, as much money into the actual Great Commission instead of, Middle Earth? In other words, it seems like people are just so invested in this stuff that they forget about what they're really here for. I mean, I got news for you, and I said this, again, I can't remember what the context was, but I said, look, the Great Commission does not say, go you into all the world and find Nephilim, okay? It doesn't say that. It doesn't say, by this shall all men know me, know me if you go out and you talk about the flat earth. Okay, it doesn't say these things, but we have so many Christians that are just so into this stuff, and the amount of time they invest in it, they buy books in it, they buy lectures, they watch YouTube. I mean, they're spending dozens and dozens of hours and spending, money on this material. They go to conferences to do what? To hear more about the Nephilim. I understand that it's interesting, but this has sort of replaced their doctrine. This is sort of replaced what they do, what they think of as the purpose of being a Christian is now to expose the Illuminati. Again, the Great Commission doesn't say, go you into all the world and find out who's in the Illuminati. It doesn't say that. So I'd like to come up with, again, I'd like to hit double digits of people who are really well informed and are committed to not doing what I just described. They're committed to not sensationalizing it, not perpetuating this problem, but actually they spend their time in this stuff for the specific purpose of evangelism and apologetics in these areas to these people. So that's why I'm asking. And I if I could find a good number of these people, I really would think about, doing some sort of ministry network, some kind of project, and it would extend beyond a conference. It would something where I would like to have a group of people that I know and that I trust, that I can endorse their ministry, I can participate in some way in their ministry, I can promote their ministry in some way and feel good about it, as opposed to feeling like, well, we've just gotten more people interested in this topic. To what end? What does it solve? They're just now more interested in conspiracy and rapture theories, and it wastes a lot of time, and it is not the Great Commission. So anyway, that's my little mini rant for here. Go ahead, Calvin.
All right, we got a question from Discord, believe it or not.
Yeah, I guess. That's funny.
Yeah. Someone says, is Calls for Maury happening tonight? For context, Calls for Maury is now the name of the voice chat in in your Discord thing.
Oh, great.
Calls for Maury. Is Calls for Maury happening today? I'm going to say yes.
Well, yeah, like I said
perfect.
at the beginning, the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Can we get the last 20?
Let's just go 15. Let's go for a nice,
okay.
Ken Hovind, his thing is young earth creationism, and he's not going to tolerate anything else but that view.
That's 15, huh?
Again, that's a good example. People conflating the Great Commission with defending young earth creationism. I mean, why? I can answer that question. I know intellectually why they do it, why they've been taught to do it, but it's not the Great Commission. It's not, go you into all the world and defend, young earth creation. It isn't. So, I want to try to find people who want to get involved in a real, actual ministry way. And I think you can already tell, I don't define ministry as getting people more interested in the topics. I don't define ministry as, I have the greatest expose now on who's in the Illuminati, or I've solved the Freemasons, or that is not what we're here for. It just isn't. So can I find anybody that is into these topics, well informed, and wants to talk to people about, about the gospel, about something serious? How about this? About graduating from Middle Earth, graduating from these topics and getting into something serious, into serious, study of Scripture. So a lot of people that you would think of, their ministry is really about perpetuating their own ministry. What? What's wrong, Calvin?
I'm so sorry. I'm just off camera trying to discreetly sneeze.
You can't.
Just the look you give me.
You can't discreetly sneeze. Yeah. You had the same problem at breakfast today.
Yeah, I did. I was just sneezing nonstop. When I sneeze, it sounds like I'm getting shot or something. Yeah. It's like super loud. Like I sneeze so hard, my wrists hurt.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have that problem?
Susan has Doug Overmeyer. Again, he's a co-host with us on Paranormal. Michael Lake, I don't, like I said, I've only met him once, and so I'll put some work into that. William Ramsey. Okay, I don't know who that is. Let's see here. William Ramsey. I don't know who that is. Let's see here. Going down here. Well, this seems to be drawing some good reactions here. Again, I'm just sufficiently irritated with this whole thing about people getting involved in these topics, not to get people out of them, okay? Not to get people to graduate to better content, but they're in it to sensationalize the content. They're in it to rivet people to this new book they have on the Nephilim or something like that. Again, I just don't define that as why we're here. That is not our task as believers. But yeah, I've listened to a good bit of Jay Dyer. I'm not sure where he's at theologically. I think he's Eastern Orthodox. He is very well read. I'm gonna put him down. I'd really have to talk to him and see where he's at theologically and spiritually.
Hey, Dad, I have a question that I wanted to ask and relate to you.
Go ahead.
It's this guy, and it's Westy the White, and they just say Gary Bates' Alien Intrusion, and I assume they're referring to the book.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the book?
I reviewed the book. If you Google, it should be on the new website too, drmsh.com. Alien Intrusion review. You should be able to find my review. It's a pretty lengthy review. It's a mix. It's a mix. He has some good things in there. I think he's hopelessly misguided with his attempts to deny the report of the spies, for instance, in Numbers 13 about the Anakim. He says the spies were lying. He wants to get away from the obvious meaning of the text. Really acting like it's only that passage in Numbers 13 that have something to do with the Nephilim. Again, the book is a mix of really good insights and just really, really awful stuff. In terms of not spiritually awful, like it's aberrant or heretical, but just not good, not good content. So it's a mixture of good and not good. But you can read the whole review there. It's pretty lengthy. Let's see here. Let's see.
I'm gonna take a recess for a moment to wash out my eyes and take
go
a couple.
Ahead. Yeah,
whatever the heck.
Steve Quayle, far too sensational.
Oh, wait, one more thing before I leave. Steve McHenry, Gary Wayne, that guy's my hero. Represent. takes no prisoners.
Yeah.
He wins every
Yeah.
time. He's
Let's
playing
see here.
four-dimensional chess, Dad.
Adam Cody, she's trying her own deacon training program. I don't know who she is referring to. Oh, my dear friend who's now, okay, somebody that Adam knows. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, I would agree, Jen. I think Gons, really does try to do that again. And it might be a better way of putting it. Can we name people who are trying to get people out of darkness, the dark parts of Middle Earth, and then second, other side of that coin, trying to get them to graduate to something like serious Bible content. I'm in this world. I'm in Christian Middle Earth. I get to be Gandalf and all that kind of stuff. I care about it because, again, I've met so many people who, used to be Christians until then it's ancient aliens, or I read Zechariah Sitchin, or blah, 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 whatever it is. So I care about it, but I think it's not ministry, and it does people a disservice if all you're doing is presenting sort of a Christian version of crazy stuff or paranormal stuff or esoteric stuff, and you leave people there. Okay, that's a disservice. People need to be graduating from the sensationalistic content to serious Bible content, and then actually discipleship. Like, whatever happened to discipleship? Discipleship is not knowing the members of the Freemasons or the Illuminati or the Rosicrucians or the Templars. I can trace all their bloodlines, That is not discipleship. And what really concerns me here is I look at Middle Earth as these are the people who care about content. These are the people who haven't quit trying, to absorb content. These are the people who are not content with this wider hipster, sort of pretending to be evangelicalism out there. These kinds of churches where, essentially substance takes a back seat to, pizzazz or something like that. I mean, I think you all know what I mean, even though I'm not really doing a great job of describing it here. But Middle Earth has the people who are not content with that. But then the question becomes, well, if you just keep them, if you equate discipleship with knowing lots of stuff about weird subjects, and you don't move them to good biblical content, you don't move them to what discipleship really means, that's really not, again, accomplishing what we're supposed to be doing. It's not a bad thing, because it's better than it not happening. If you can get somebody out of the darkness, I understand that. And I'm all in favor of that. But I just see a lot of people being left in Middle Earth. Again, advanced knowledge of UFO stuff or advanced knowledge of chemtrails, that's not discipleship. It's not discipleship. It's not rightly dividing the word of truth. It's not rightly dividing Jacques Vallée, okay? This is not why we're here. And I just see people being left in this, occupying this ground, and that becomes their definition of growth. That becomes their definition of discipleship. It becomes their definition of ministry. And it's not that I don't want any of that to happen. I'm looking for people who can make that happen, who can help people think better about these things. But if you're not being grown, biblically and theologically, it's just not. It's not really what it's about. Hopefully I'm communicating what what's irritating me here. Irritating is not a good word. What's concerning me. It is a foreign word, Donita. It is. Let's see here. Fruchtenbaum. Fruchtenbaum's kind of an interesting choice, but I mean, he'd be, it's not, I mean, he's not the Hebrew roots guy, but I don't know that he really does Middle Earth stuff as far as like the paranormal topics. But the last I heard of Fruchtenbaum, he has not, gone off any deep ends as far as, your hair looks wonderful, Calvin.
Aliens.
Yeah, it's not.
Aliens.
Right.
There we go. I had to do it.
You just had to do it, yeah.
I had to do it. What can I say? There was no other option.
Oh, let's see. Pip Court. Or no, that's not a name. That's not a recommendation. Yeah, I mean, Trent Daddy Landis. Yeah, you're right. You know, that's what I want to weed out. But it's easy to sort of put your finger on what you don't want to include. It's a lot harder to say like, well, who's left? You know, because Christian Middle Earth is just dominated by people who they want. Instead of wanting people to graduate to better stuff, they want people to buy their next book. They want people, you know, to sort of stay in the topic. And I mean, think about it. If you're really solving anything for people, you shouldn't need to do that 10 times, like 10 books, 10 DVDs. If you're really helping people, you know, think more about this. You know, again, think more carefully. There's a couple things here. I want you to think well about this weird topic. Got it. You know, that's important. But then you have to ask yourself, well, what comes next? And all I see, I shouldn't say all, but most of what I see that comes next is the next book, the next conference, the next DVD, the next, you know, podcast about the same stuff. It's the same stuff. You know, come back for more. Well, when do people graduate? When do people move on to do what they're supposed to be doing? And I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing it happen in Christian Middle Earth. Let's see here. Calvin looks like he wrestled the cat.
Yeah. I got thick hair, Dad.
Yeah.
THICC, all caps. That's a high honor in the thick community.
Yeah. So anyway, that just so that you know, I mean, if you have other recommendations, I really don't know a better way to express it. I mean, I don't want to state it all in negative terms because, you know, even people that are doing, you know, sensationalist stuff, there are a number of those people who what they do is important, you know, to help people think better about something, if indeed they are helping people think better about something. I mean, that's an open question with some. At least, you know, trying to keep them, you know, attached to faith. I think, you know, everybody we've mentioned here is trying to do that. But we need to ask ourselves the question, or you all need to ask yourself the question, because I mean, I've done it too. I've asked it, you know, what comes next? You know, have you helped people move on, or are you keeping them here in the same spot again to buy the next DVD or the next?
Oh, it's
book?
happening again.
So that's kind of what's floating that boat.
Hey, Dad.
Are your allergies any better, Calvin?
No, they're still terrible. But we are close to the time where we're going to be taking a call from Discord, and I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, we got 7 minutes yet.
Yeah,
so.
7 minutes. Okay, fine. 7 more minutes. But if my sneezing doesn't let up, I'm going to do it anyway.
All right. Somebody has here Michael Criswell. That's another name I don't know, so I'll write him down. I mean, I'll go look these people up just to
Discord profile.
You know, to see here.
Hey,
Michael
Dad.
Mill.
Dad.
Mill. What?
There was something that we were planning on showing people for the next stream. We were going to show them some of the other Pug Photoshop cards.
Well, do you have them there?
I have 3 here, but they're saved in a weird way. It's like a grid of them, but I'll see if I can put it in.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna swap off studio modes. Things are gonna get a little hairy here.
Yeah.
But let's see if I can just drag and drop them in here.
All right. If you can, you know, you could be. I guess you can alert viewers.
Watch out, viewers! You're about to see some crazy stuff. Wow, that's a huge size.
Captain Solo asks about Dave Hunt and the Seduction of Christianity book.
Just here they are, Dad.
I think there is some of that. There is some connection to what I'm talking about. I mean, that was sort of going after the New Age movement. So yeah, I think there's some connection there. Oh yeah, these are. Calvin's been spending a little too much time on Photoshop.
Right. But let me slide them in here. This card, the Pugs
all
of
have
Paradox.
Pug faces. Okay.
The Pugs of Paradox is my favorite one. You know why? I spent so long on that. Just that little image in the card. I think Encyclopedia of Knowledge it's by far the worst looking one, but it's my favorite because of the pun. If
you're thinking, you know, spring break needs to be over, you know, so Calvin can go back to school.
This was before spring break.
Well, I don't know if you should have told me that. But.
This is perforating pugness. There's like like this pug's mind is being blown, right? That's. Are you proud of me, Dad?
No, I'm not.
Well, it's fine. I don't need you to be proud of me. I just need Maury to be proud of
you,
me.
you need to pull some other stuff off the web and put Maury into something that we can like use for a logo or something.
You know what I want to do? Because I've been thinking about doing this with Mike as well, or some of my other friends.
Yeah.
We want to take like the Iron Man movie or something like that, and frame by frame insert our faces over everyone and dub all of the sounds, dub the vocals, dub the sound effects, dub the instrumentals.
Yeah.
And then release it as a separate movie. I would love to do that.
Yeah, Adam Cody. I don't know what David you're talking about here. So give me a last name again. I've lost it in the stream. Guzik. So David Guzik. I've never heard of that name either. This is good. A lot of names that I have not heard of before. Probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 names that I have not heard of before. So that'll be good. Yeah, I think Matthew. I think that's what he was saying. Yeah, it does look. Donita says looks like stuff my kids do. Yep, there you go.
Oh, you think a mere child could do
he's
that?
He's a Calvary pastor. All right.
Fight me. Magic the puggering. Yeah, I agree, Badadees.
Yeah, somebody put Chris Pinto here. The only problem I have with Chris Pinto is he's bought into the, King James only or the TR only, kind of stuff, which, I just have to be honest. It's just nonsense. This whole, Westcott and Hort were, evil devil worshippers or something, and the Textus Receptus is like the text, for it's just demonstrably incoherent. So I want to stay away from that. I don't want. It's just a shame because I think Chris could do some really, good stuff here, but just so far off the mark when it comes to textual criticism, textual history, and all that kind of stuff. It's unfortunate. So that's gonna, that's gonna just, Natalina, Jen, I have her on the list, and Basil, of course, with Gons. But as far as Chris, that's just gonna sort of disqualify him, unfortunately. But yeah, I know Tim Mackey. We interviewed him for the podcast, and he went through the same grad program as I did, but he started his classwork when I was on dissertation, so we never actually overlapped in class. But I don't think Tim does any of the Middle Earth stuff. Mark Sayers, I don't know. Let's see here.
Dad, 60 seconds to the Discord call. See these earbuds? Get them on. I'm going to throw them to you. Close enough.
Oh, no. Okay, so I have to put these on.
Yeah. They should say left and right on them.
All right, and nobody else can hear this? Is that true? Like nobody watching can hear
the people watching will be able to hear the talking.
Well, they'll be able to hear me talking.
No,
right?
they'll be able to hear the people on Discord talking too, like last time.
All right.
So just tell me when you're ready to start it and put that other earbud in.
Yeah, but then I can't hear anything. I can't hear you.
Dad, can you hear me now?
Barely.
Okay, well I'll just talk louder.
Steven.
I'll talk like a raving lunatic.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Oh, is it Stephen Barcarz or Bar? I have it spelled Bancarz, but is it Bar? Susan has it spelled Barcarz. Okay. Your description makes me think this is a guy I need to look up if he used to be a New Ager.
All right, Dad. We cleared to go into the chat.
Yeah. Westy, they did mention Brian Godawa. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here other than just sitting here talking, Calvin.
All right, so. Okay. So we got some people in chat, so I'm just gonna jump in, okay? All right, we good?
Yeah. Saved by grace, I pity you. You have my sympathy.
We are now in.
Wow, that's too loud.
How is that too loud on your end?
Well, wait,
I know why it's
clicking.
too loud. Let me just quickly adjust that.
I don't hear anything but clicking.
There we go. Someone say something.
Hey guys, Fine.
Hello.
Yeah. Rock and Roll says he loves the KJV and reads it all the time. That's what I grew up on, and it was the reason why.
Dang it!
It's the reason why I wanted to do the reverse interlinear, the King James, at work, for Logos, and I did. I did the whole thing. I'm probably the only person in the world who's been through every syllable of the King James, hand aligning it to the Greek, Hebrew, or Aramaic from which it derives. Okay. I can tell you right now, the King James is a really good translation, but it is far from perfect.
Hey, Dad.
It's a committee translation like any of the other ones. So
You know what time it is, Dad?
it's time for me to listen to somebody typing or chewing.
It's Epcolu
I
time.
I can't remember which it is, but
Well, yeah, we come in here and you're already talking.
right.
Do we have anyone in the chat who wants to talk? It doesn't even have to be a question. We're just here to share good vibes and share in our thickness.
Maury is
Band
the best thing
cars.
ever.
Okay.
I did hear that, and I agree.
Oh, Dad, like physically come over to my side.
I
look at
can't
this.
if I'm wearing this.
Okay, well take them off then. This is great. It's a great Photoshop. It's a funny flat
Hold-
Earth
hold
joke.
on.
Presumably made by Chaos Comp.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't
fu-
make it. I stole
Oh,
it.
he didn't make it. He stole it. But still,
Yeah,
you should
I-
see it.
I
Look at it.
actually made that.
This is how the dinosaurs
nice.
went extinct. You see that?
What, CDs flew at them? Oh, that's the Earth.
That's the Earth, Dad. It's flat. You should know this by now. You should be able to recognize it. Have I
Yeah, the
taught you
meteorites
nothing?
back the Earth one way,
Well,
and then everything
my
was
question
plunged
is,
out of
if
space.
the asteroid hit the flat Earth, why didn't it just deflect off?
I'm going to quickly put that up on the stream so the people watching can see it because I think it's funny.
Okay. So Susan has give me the correct spelling here. That's good.
So here we go. There's the flat Earth meme. I like that a lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't hear anything. There's the typing or chew. It is typing, right? It's
Yeah,
not
it is
chewing.
typing. Who
Okay.
chews like that?
Someone who chews with their mouth open.
That's not chewing. That's like echolocation, whatever
But
that
it sounds
is.
like lip smacking.
That's my mating call.
Yeah.
Okay, chaos.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I have a question.
all right, let's hear it then.
So, any chance of getting an episode on how to think like a first century Jew in like a Greco-Roman influence area, and maybe get someone like David De Silva on as a guest?
Yeah, I've really thought about having Dave on, so I would say the short answer to that is yes. And he would be a good one for it. So if I could give me the topic you would want from him in one sentence.
Honor, shame, society.
Okay.
Uh,
That would be that would actually be a really good topic.
An honor shame society.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So we're trying to line up some interviews for the podcast for the rest of the year.
Can I be
so
on the
that-
podcast?
For what?
Can I be on the podcast?
No.
Why not? I'm your flesh and blood. What's trade to you?
Doesn't matter.
Some guy.
It doesn't matter.
I can learn sound too, Dad.
No, he's not adopted.
Maury's my true kin. You ever
No,
heard of
that's a
other
good
kin?
idea,
This is
though.
just like that.
Jen wants to know what's happening with Discord. Jen, that is not a question for me to answer because I don't know is likely an unsatisfactory answer.
Dad is a Neanderthal who still
So
uses
Calvin-
Skype. That's what it is. He's stuck in the past. He's basically like living in the 1940s with Skype. Dad, I do actually have a proper working invitation link to the Discord. Is it okay if I post that in the chat real quick?
I guess.
All right, sure. I'll post in the chat.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, do it. Yeah.
I was just trying to
Yeah.
find a good place.
Yeah, I
good time
wouldn't
to-
be very happy to live in the 1940s. I'd like to live in the 19th century, but
I would.
Hey, Mike. This is Han Solo talking.
My boy. What's up, Han Solo?
I'm
Hey,
doing all right.
is
It's
the
currently
is the movie out
10
yet?
minutes to midday.
When's the movie?
Sorry.
When's Solo supposed to be out? The movie.
Oh,
I think that's a question for General Han Solo.
I'm dreading it.
Oh, really? You are.
Never.
It's gonna ruin his
Yes.
reputation.
Well, I heard something about they had to bring an acting coach in or something like that. It just didn't.
Well,
seem
they
like
had to bring in a whole new director, and yeah, the trailer actually showcases how shoddy the whole movie's going
Oh
to be.
boy, am I excited!
Wow.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay then.
If you dislike Last Jedi and Force Awakens, well, you're not gonna like this one either. I think Disney has botched Star Wars altogether.
Okay.
Disney just shoots for like the lowest common
Why
denominator because
can't
that's
we
what
make
makes them the most
movies
money.
like Rogue One? I mean, what?
Yeah,
why-
Rogue One was good.
Why is
Rogue
that
One was the
boat
only
being
good one.
missed?
Yeah, Rogue One's probably like the. I mean, here's
Yeah.
like
Rogue
I
One
I
was
think
great.
I've enjoyed most of the new Star Wars movies, but I think Rogue One's the only one I can really say is good. Like,
It's the only one I'd watch again.
yeah,
I'd watch it tonight.
yeah, because like
it's
you know
good.
you can enjoy Mono's Hands of Fate, but is it really a good movie?
No.
Yeah, but like. I think for what it is, Rogue One is probably the only like legitimately good new Star Wars movie. I know that makes me sound like a film snob, but no, it doesn't. Everyone hates the new ones. Bam.
Hey, Calvin, have you seen Ready Player One?
No, I have not, and I have no intention to see it. They put Tracer from Overwatch in the trailer, and that was enough for me to
Yeah.
say nope. All the
That's
characters, they look
amazing.
They look
All right,
terrible.
well, let-
Everything looks terrible.
let me
Everything's
try to
terrible.
convince
Life is
you.
You're a
meaningless.
Fort-
Buy
Why do
Gary
you like
Wayne's
Fortnite?
book.
You like Fortnite. That's dumb. That's
No,
dumb.
okay, I don't like the battle royale
You're-
mode. Fortnite
you're-
Save the
you're-
World is a legitimately good game, and people who
You're
just think
a
Fortnite is nothing but the battle royale
No.
mode deserve to be curb stomped.
You're a pleb.
Hey!
You were extreme pleb.
Fortnite Save the World mode, the PvE, is legitimately an amazing game.
Yeah,
The story's
you're right,
really
you're right.
funny.
I am
The
thinking what
gameplay
the
is
world are they
great.
talking
Dad's
about.
completely lost here. And you know what? That's
I know
fine
they're
with
talking
me.
about the new Spielberg movie, but
Yes, it's
you
great.
know, so
It's amazing.
so you've seen it. It's out.
Ready
Yes.
Player One is
Okay.
amazing. Yeah,
Yes,
I doubt
it's
it.
great.
I doubt it.
No,
Okay, what is good about it? What's appealing?
The characters, well, there's no standoutish characters, but it's got a pretty interesting plot, pretty nice visual effects. Doesn't shoehorn any agenda in it. Obviously, Spielberg won't go for that, but it's got a nice soundtrack. It's just a really fun movie. You know, it's really reminiscent of. I mean, it takes place in the future, but there's some really nice '80s callbacks if you liked '80s culture and style
do
and all that.
you think they're trying to rip off Stranger Things when they do that, or?
No. Oh no.
I mean,
No,
80s
no,
callback is just kind of a fad right now, I think.
Yeah, a fad that needs to stay.
It is
Okay,
trendy to be not
somebody
trendy.
on the board just said Ready Player One is Spielberg's love letter to himself.
Maybe.
And then
Let me just
someone
look
else-
it up.
Someone else.
Is it
agreed
already
with him,
out?
so-
Yeah.
I have such poor hope for this.
Yeah,
I have. By that
I
I mean
don't-
I have no hope for this.
See, I don't really have a context for that comment either, but this seems to really be dividing people. You know, people either love it or
I
hate it.
hate video game movies. They're almost always.
Did we take
terrible.
you to see the Tron, the second, like the Tron
Yeah.
sequel thing?
I did.
Okay.
Hey, wait a minute. So Ready Player One is a rip-off of the original Tron.
No, it's just got Tron elements.
Okay.
Come
Ish.
on.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Ready Player One has a decent score on Rotten Tomatoes, but then again, so did Suicide Squad. Like,
No, what? No, don't you?
I think my favorite part of Suicide Squad was when Slipknot tried to zip line his way out of the movie and he got killed off. That was my favorite part. That was my favorite part.
The
Okay.
only good part about that was Will Smith and what's her face there playing
No.
Harley Quinn.
No, I changed my mind. My favorite part of Suicide Squad was talking to my friend Cameron after he saw it, hearing him say Jared Leto was his favorite Joker, and then actually doing a spit take. That was the
Ew.
most entertainment I got from the movie.
Ew.
All right. I'm completely lost with all those movies. But
Yeah.
let's have a serious
Mi-
Q&A.
mi- Yeah, Miguel asked a question here. Does Faith Life offer degrees or certifications of any kind? You know, they don't offer degrees. We don't have degree granting permissions, nor are they seeking it. They've started a certificate program, like in biblical languages. I don't really know much about it since I'm out of the mobile ed loop as far as administration, but there's some kind of certificate of completion for that. That's really all I know about it. You could ask somebody at the company, just call in and ask to speak to someone in mobile ed, and they would be able to tell you more.
Hey, Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your favorite superhero? Who's your favorite, Dad?
Is this like a trick question?
No, just ask.
No,
Who's your
growing up, it was Iron Man.
You know, Iron Man is way better now. You know why? You know who the new Iron Man is?
There's a new one? What do you
Yeah,
mean
you know
there's
who
a
the new
one?
Iron Man is?
No.
Riri Williams.
Who is that?
She's like this, like, 18,
Is this
like,
in the comic
17-year-old,
books or
like,
something? This is the
girl
comic
who's
books,
suddenly
or-
Iron Man.
in the comic books?
Yeah, in the comic
Oh,
books.
well, I don't read the comics.
Riri Williams. A great, well-rounded character. Very realistic.
Doesn't Iron Man imply man, not woman?
Not in today's world.
Not anymore.
Just a quick mic test. Aaron, can
That's
you
the
hear us?
loudest. Really?
Chris Angel, mind freak. That's some
Oh, wait.
that's some crazy illusion right there.
Mike, coming back to the questions you were asking earlier on. So I mentioned Dave Hunt's Seduction of Christianity, but
Yeah.
obviously he's passed away and the book was written back in the 80s. But would that be sort of the flavor that you're asking, where it's a serious discussion in that context, but like in Middle Earth context?
Yeah.
But obviously it's outdated.
Right,
Yeah.
because I can't see Hunt, writing the book just to titillate people, just to get them interested in New Age stuff and sort of leave them there. You know, like now we're all enemies or Christian enemies of the New Age, and so that's what's going to define our walk with God now. I just see too much of that happening in Middle Earth, where people, there's no what's next. You know, I think that's probably the shortest way I can put it. And people just get so absorbed, they spend so much time, so much money on buying the next book on the same subject. And I have to wonder. I look at Middle Earth thinking, boy, there's a lot of potential here. But it never seems to move beyond the next lecture on the very same topic that we heard last year, and all the books that we read this year. It's just the same
Right.
stuff. Stephanie's saying that they can't hear me, Calvin, so I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe that's
that's
mine.
odd.
Hey, can I ask a question about the flat Earth theory? That maybe
Yes, I'm excited for this.
Right? Yeah.
Ask away.
All I'm going to say is it's nonsense, so we'll let Calvin
The flat Earth.
take it from there.
All right.
But
What do you got?
Well, let me say up front, I don't believe that it's true, okay?
Heresy.
Okay, so if we take the principle of setting up a fire outside, the closer we walk to that fire, the hotter it's going to be, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first bit of the
Yeah, I
question.
didn't hear
The fire part I meant. You cut out a little bit.
I create a fire outside.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The closer we walk to that fire, the hotter it gets, correct?
Yes, that's.
Or the-
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
So if the sun is only 3,000 feet above the planet, which I've heard a lot of flat earthers say, wouldn't that be hot enough to burn the planet up?
Yeah.
What's the flat Earth excuse this week?
Yeah.
Aliens? Yeah, aliens. Yeah, there's your answer. Aliens.
The flat
No,
Earth.
seriously though.
The flat Earth excuse is that the sun is only 30 kilometers in diameter.
I think.
Well, that
Yeah.
doesn't.
That doesn't affect its
I mean,
temperature.
Technically, the sun's only about the size of a dime.
And
If you hold it just right.
You know, I thought the
that
flat
argument
Earth.
falls on its face because, like,
Yeah.
a fire can be like the size of a diamond. You can put your hand in there and still get it burned.
Yeah, the closer you move your hand toward the dime-sized fire, the hotter it's going to be. You know,
yeah.
look, okay, you've accomplished something here. I thought flat Earth theory couldn't get dumber, but you just did it.
Let's talk about the flat
So
sun
there
movement.
should be some kind of award for that.
Wait. Wait.
Some kind of-
Wait,
Hey, Dad,
are
want to
you
hear something great?
dumb or are you on the flat Earth dumb?
It's flat Earth dumb.
Dad, that's rude.
I know.
That's very rude.
But sometimes that's what's required.
Oh my
you know,
gosh,
just-
you gotta be kidding.
I mean,
that's
I don't
interesting.
go out looking to trash flat Earth websites
I
and
do.
stuff like that. But
Apparently, there's
Since
some
we're
people who
talking about
believe
it,
the sun is
yeah.
flat
I
and the
will-
Earth
I
is
will-
round.
people
The sun only
are-
being 3,000 feet above the air, above the planet, wouldn't it burn the planet up?
yeah, it would incinerate us.
Yeah.
'Cause they
Aliens,
believe that-
guys.
Don't they? don't they believe it's the same temperature as normal science says it is?
You're asking if a flat earther believes something normal science does. I think by definition, the answer to that would be
We're
no.
flat earthers. We're mavericks. We're different. We embrace it.
Right. See, I thought you were going to say we
Get
take
your
no prisoners.
Get your flat earth t-shirt at loganpaul.com/shop.
Ew.
I don't know who Logan. See, I'm on the outside of the reference, so
Don't
Okay,
don't look him up.
Logan Paul is a true martyr. I truly believe Logan Paul.
I don't know who
Calvin,
he
the
is.
Earth and the moon are round.
Calvin, you should definitely. share
Logan
that
Paul
photo.
takes no prisoners.
That picture.
Oh wait, there's a picture in
Calvin,
Discord.
you
Let me
should-
see
you
it.
Yeah, you should put this on the screen because that's funny. The flat sun, not
You
the
know what?
flat earth, but the flat sun.
I will give that a try. I'll paste it right into OBS.
That is.
That did not work. Let me try that again. But let me tell you.
And
Flat
Mike,
sun.
another question in regards to Middle Earth would be: I think this Jesus mythicism is really taking hold, and because you asked me in a private message about Mary Jo Sharp, and I honestly can't think of anyone.
That's a flat sun
you know,
picture.
Me personally, I can't think of anyone that actually tackles that question. Like that might respond to Richard Carrier's work or something like that.
Yeah. See, to me that I wanted it initially. I wanted something on that for the summer's conference, the Naked Bible thing, which I'm forbidden to say any more about until we announce that on the podcast. But I can't go into all the things that have prompted the questions I asked tonight about the Middle Earth stuff, but that kind of topic seems ideal for that arena, even more than Naked Bible stuff. Because if you're doing a Naked Bible event, the chances are the people who are going to show up for that are people in churches, that just they want to do Bible stuff. But if we had some kind of event or whether it's streaming video or a conference or something like that, that's specifically aimed at the fringe kind of topics, I think the chances are greater that you would get people to watch that who, if I can say this, really need to hear it more. But again, that's a guess. I realize you could come back and say, well, good grief, people in churches that we basically look at and say they're not, they're solid, they're not, waffling on this or that. They need to hear that too. And you're right, that's certainly true. But that is one of the topics I'm thinking about for this other thing. So I'm going to take your comment seriously, that since you spent a lot of time here, if you haven't come across anybody that you're impressed with, I would think that you should have run into them by now. Let me ask you this question.
I mean, that's why. Yeah.
I mean, have you read?
That's why I took it upon myself to tackle that topic myself, like over here in Perth. Yeah.
And you're specifically zeroed in on Carrier, is that correct?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
because I think like Hound of Heaven, another person in here, so him and me actually tackled Carrier head on in a live Facebook discussion, and because we looked at his. Sorry.
Yeah, we called him out on binatarian stuff.
Yeah. So Carrier actually references a lot of Second Temple scholars in his work, and there's only been, I think, only 2 peer-reviewed papers now, one positive, one negative, on his work, and so I think he's the first Jesus myth guy to tackle Second Temple scholarship, to try and defend a so-called cosmic Jesus, which at the end of the day is nothing but Gnostic, a Gnostic idea.
Yeah. What's the? I was just going to say, what's the difference between that and the Gnostic Jesus, which a lot of people don't realize Gnosticism wasn't even consistent on that point. It's not a unifier. Yeah, I know, but the Nag Hammadi material, there's actually a variety of Jesuses in that material. It's not a consistent picture, but you know, that's a bit peripheral, I guess. But
Dad.
What?
Before we end,
Mhm.
the username the faded one sent a meme to me that I wanna read. You don't need this picture to get the full joke. I just want to read it.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
I don't know if they made this or if they found it from another site, but I think it's funny. And it goes like this. If eclipses are real, why do you need special NASA glasses to see them? Throw away your NASA CGI glasses. Expose the lies. 8/21/2017. # research flat Earth.
That's
There we go.
that's just
That
compelling.
is cancer.
Yeah, that's really compelling.
Bleach it.
You know,
Now somebody
Calvin,
Resurrection Jose, before we leave here, put something in here about a dissertation on Genesis 6:1-4. But so if you're still listening, all I need to know is the last name spelled correctly, because if it is, I'll look it up in ProQuest, the dissertation abstracts. I hate to put it this way, but if it's at a real school, you know, like as opposed to like a degree mill, it will be in ProQuest, and then I can get it and look at it. So,
Okay, I think. Can I ask one more question from
Sure.
an outside friend? Okay, so the question goes. My question involves death and suffering. The Bible talks about how sin leads to death, but since death occurred before creatures sinned, essentially, being that animals weren't conscious in that way, why does Scripture reference that sin leads to death when being that we are finite, that is inevitably already? Maybe you can rephrase it. So basically,
I can't
yeah.
follow any of that at all. The part about animals sinning, like what
it kind of
I have
sounded
no idea
like
what he's even asking.
it kind of sounded like the question, and I could be completely wrong, but it kind of sounded like the question was like, how can sinning lead to death if death is inevitable, or something like that? That could be totally wrong. Do not quote me on that.
Yeah,
Was that
Actually,
closer?
how I took it is what I think he's trying to say is, if sin causes death and animals don't sin, how can they suffer that same thing that humans do since they don't sin?
I mean,
Before the fall, basically, it's all in regards to Genesis 1 and animal death before sin. That basically that question, animal death before sin.
is the implication of that sin is the only thing that leads to death?
Well,
Yeah,
I would,
it's basically.
yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
think Calvin is, you know, and whoever was talking before is, if that's what they're asking, then that question, that line of questioning makes sense. Yeah, I think Romans 5:12 is talking about human sin. So this notion of connecting animal sin with death and again that concatenation of thought, that whole trajectory, I don't know that we have a scriptural basis for that, because that talk, that discussion is typically derived from Romans 5:12. And if Romans 5:12 isn't about that, then that stuff doesn't derive from Romans 5:12. So it would almost be like making something an obstacle that doesn't derive from the text, making it an obstacle to the text, which it sort of implodes on itself.
What's the traditional Christian view of
Yeah.
whether there was death before the fall or not?
Yeah, if you take the traditional reading of Romans 5:12, then you know you are looking at you have to in some way say that the verse is talking about death wider than humanity, and that's my question. I don't know that it is. Now you could say, if you presume that, you could say, well, that's the sort of the inevitable result of Eden vanishing. You know, you could try to extrapolate in that direction and still make it about, you know, animal death or something like that. But I don't think that's what the verse is about. So
Are you saying that it's hard to extrapolate
yeah.
whether or not there was death before the fall?
What I'm saying is I don't know of a passage that comments on it. So I can't really construct a theology of it without that. You know, another way of saying that is I don't think the biblical writers were writing to answer that question or address that question.
Right. As far as Adam's concerned, he couldn't die, but the animals is a different issue.
Yeah, that to me I think is a more coherent way to talk about it, but not because I have a verse that says that. It's sort of
Right.
in this vacuum that Scripture doesn't talk about this other thing.
So are you Mike Winger on YouTube, the
No,
apologist?
Michael Heiser.
No,
Are you?
this is not Mike Winger speaking. This is Mike Heiser.
Dr. Heiser, one thing I really appreciate about your work is you talk about how we need to read the text in its context and not in the context of Calvinist theology or not in the context of Roman Catholic theology, but for its own sake. And with that in mind, I was just wondering, what do you make of the mistranslation of Romans 5:12 with all sinned as Adam versus all sinned in Adam? Do you think it is a significant mistranslation? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
where does it say? I don't know of any translation that says sinned in Adam or as Adam. Those renderings that you just gave represent the seminal and federal headship views, but I don't know. I mean, I don't have all English translations memorized. Is there a translation that really has that wording? Either one of those? I mean, I can't think of any. In other words, both of those are an extrapolation from what Romans 5:12 does say, and they're the two traditional positions, federal and seminal headship. And I don't care. I shouldn't say I don't care. It sounds too harsh, but I'll say it because I don't have a better word. I'm not really concerned about either view because I don't see. I see humans being responsible for what they do, not for what Adam did. So that kind of rules out, the federal view. And since I don't think that complete human persons were in the loins of Adam, I don't think we have the seminal view in play either. And there are different reasons why early church thinkers rejected either of those views, either in both of those views. So no matter what position, if you were choosing between those two, everybody realizes that each view has its own problems, its own sort of quandaries. But again, I don't think it's about the imputation of guilt. So I don't tend to land in either space, but I don't know of any translation that actually tries to take the verse and translate it in such a way as to rule out one of the views. But maybe you guys have come across one. I don't know.
Mike, have you checked out John Walton's The Lost World of the Israelite Conquest and the
No.
Fate of the Canaanites?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Hey, Dad. I have a question for you.
Yeah, what? We need to wrap up soon.
Okay.
Go
In that
ahead.
case, this will be the final question of the episode. Are you a Jake Pauler or are you the Low Gang?
No.
I don't. None of that has any meaning.
You gotta pick one, Dad.
No, I don't.
No.
I don't have to do
No.
anything.
Okay, Logan or Jake? That's what you gotta
Come-
say, Dad. Who's better?
come-
Who's better,
come
Logan
to
or
what-
Jake?
No, anime.
This is something about anime.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
Logan Paul and Jake Paul. Their feud is one of my favorite. Like, unironically,
Whatever.
it's one of my favorite
Whatever.
anime story arcs in the history
The manga was better.
of Eastern yeah, the manga was better. I thought it was a very odd design choice, to go into that forest, but I think overall it enhanced the story a lot. So
The-
I'll leave you with
the-
that.
the
Hey,
only-
Michael.
The only
I
thing
do
I
have
can
a
even relate to is Naruto, and the only reason that's memorable
Oh
is because,
man, the Logan Paul and
is because
Naruto.
every
Man.
line he screamed
Wow.
every line. He never talked. He just screamed every line.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand that.
How else are you gonna sound
why
intense?
is this character screaming every line? And the Pokemon guy had his eyes closed.
Brock
in
always
every
had his
scene.
eyes shut because he was
It's like,
so
what is-
numb to the
what is up with
world
that?
he couldn't bear to face the evil anymore. It was the story of one man's
Anyway.
journey against darkness.
Yeah, well, it would be
Pokemon
against
Ruby
darkness if his
coming
eyes were
soon.
closed the whole time. So. All right.
Hey,
Well,
hey, Mike.
I got to get going. So So
Just one really
Is the
quick
word
question.
based off of
I think I killed him with the Logan Paul
So I
question.
was in here with Christian Man the other day, and we were discussing the word image
mhm,
as it relates to Genesis 1,
yeah,
26 and 27.
this doesn't sound like a quick question, but go ahead.
Okay, well, next time you come in here, then I'll ask you that. Actually,
Write it down in the chat and I'll pin it for next time.
Is the word Easter based off of Ishtar?
Good grief. It's that time of year again, isn't it?
don't
Yes.
worry.
You know, I blogged something about that last year, so I should repost that today. So I'll try to remember that. But
How many languages do you know, Mike? That's a pretty quick question.
oh, I had to take coursework in, I don't know, 10 or 11, something like that. I'd have to. It
So
sounds
you know, like,
it sounds
you know
more impressive.
Aramaic?
Yeah, it sounds more impressive than it is because they're all so similar, except for Egyptian.
You used to be Klingon.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I would like to learn Klingon. Though.
Oh,
That just. All
I
right.
like to speak Wookiee, but anyway.
Speak Elvish.
No, but I there are a couple of good grammars on that. So
What?
I actually have them in an Amazon wish list. You know, the Sindarin grammar. So
Yes.
I could see
So
myself
how-
doing that at some point.
How close is biblical Hebrew
I
to
would-
the Aramaic that they spoke at that time?
I would love to hear Mike's Wookiee speak when he gives his naked Bible.
I
You sound
can't-
like Little Pump when
I
you do
can't make
that.
the sound.
That's what you sound like. You sound like Little Pump. That's what you sounded like.
Yeah, and there's no simple short answer to that Hebrew Aramaic question. They're both Semitic, which means they both have most of their vocabulary with triradical morphemes or lexemes, that words that are 3 consonant based, but there's exceptions. There's 2 and there's 4. There's morphological differences. There's a decent amount of semantic overlap. Definite article goes in different places. There's consonant interchanges, so they're similar except where they're not. You know?
Yeah. Well, there's all Semitic languages, and
You
at
know.
the same time, it's like England English and American English. They're
Yeah,
similar,
it's
but they're not.
right. It's a little worse than that, but that's not a bad analogy for a quick thing.
A better example would be ancient German to ancient English.
All right, I'm out of here,
All right.
Calvin. So
Okay. I'll just finish with one thing.
yeah,
All
do
right,
your
everyone,
thing.
to all the flat earthers in the audience, go to loganpaul.com/shop for your flat earth merch. This has been
Fortnite
PugCast
flip.
episode
What is that?
6000.
what does the flat Earth have to do with anime? Or maybe I don't want to ask.
When you
that.
think about it, the Flat Earth Society is the oldest fan base in the world.
Yeah, I'm out of here. They're the flattest fan base in the world. Is that it?
you know,
Hey.
everything about the movement is flat. You know, like their beliefs are flat. The average IQ peaks at 20 and just flat. See you. Bye, Dad.
I could ask that question.